I mean, it sounds like Mooney's on track to be ready for training camp. I don't think that's going to be an issue. That's the good news. Claypool, they're still being sort of cautious, nebulous at best in describing whatever soft tissue injury he is having. But, Claypool has not been part of there, as I understand, but he hasn't been part of the minicamp. He's not practicing, didn't practice yesterday. Sylvie talked about something he heard on the Waddle and Sylvie show yesterday regarding Chase Claypool. Listen to this.
He continued to say he's got time. He's got these 40 days to get healthy before training camp. He's got a full training camp to work on this. He has said that he's got time to get into the playbook and that he has learned the playbook. I have heard from a few people inside that building that he is not somebody who is very self-motivated. Again, there's a long way to go. Chase Claypool can change the narrative. Waddle always likes to say, if you want to change the narrative,
change the narrative.
So Chase Claypool can do so. All I can tell you is it isn't trending in a way that the Bears have wanted it to trend in this offseason. Again, you could call me a hater. You can do whatever you want. They do OTAs and they do minicamp for a reason. Chase Claypool is a guy that they've wanted to see some things from. They have not been able to see those things from him on and off the field. He has time to turn it around. They're very, 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 very happy that they have DJ Moore inside that building. As you heard Eberflus say again, they sound thrilled that Mooney is trending in the right direction, and it sounds like he's almost 100%, and he will be 100% going into the summer, and he will be 100% going into training camp. All those things don't sound great for Claypool going into training camp on where they think he's going to be.
They don't sound great. Sylvie's hearing that from people in the building, and that's the concern. I've always been intrigued by the player because of his physical abilities and what he did as a rookie. But what did we always say when we talked about Chase Claypool, Yerk? What did we always say after that rookie year? Tomlin seemed to really...
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't make mistakes on its players usually.
And Sylvie even said this yesterday. He goes, Mike Tomlin and that organization, especially with receivers, they do quite well. And when Mike Tomlin says, you know what? I don't like this. That's kind of a red flag.
And Tomlin usually is able to handle some things until the point where it becomes not worth it. He put up with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was producing numbers. He had him under control a little bit. And then he became a little bit of a loose cannon, and you've got to say goodbye. Le'Veon Bell. Had it under control a little bit. Then he became a loose cannon. It's all right. You got to sit out. I can't control it, but now we've got to go play football.
Why were they so willing to part with a third-year at the time receiver who had 11 touchdowns as a rookie for them? Why were they so willing to do that? And it goes back to that soundbite we loved to play of Tomlin in his rookie year where Chase Claypool was complaining about music, not enough music at practice.
Do we have it?
Chris, we always throw Chris on the spot.
Right,
I think he can find it.
But it's
in the system. The Tomlin on Claypool and the music, Chris.
It's the exact thing. Rather than, and he was asked a question, and rather than just kind of focus on it and say, no, what we're doing in practice is what we do in practice, he decided to offer the head coach a little bit of advice, which maybe it's not the smartest thing in the world to do sometimes.
We always got a kick out of that bite from Tomlin because it's so quintessential Tomlin.
Yeah.
But it does kind of speak to, I think, where they arrived with Chase Claypool. And it was always the kind of like, we were always like, yeah, I get, that's out there. Look, I liked it when it happened. I thought that they don't have talent in their wide receiver room, and the kid's talented. He's a freaky athlete. He's big. A little bit of a body catcher, as Waddle points out. That's not a great sign, but like they found a way to use him where he was productive as a rookie, and they found, like, they highlighted his good attributes, and he found the end zone 11 times as a rookie. So I liked it because I didn't, especially long before DJ Moore got here, they didn't have talent really in that wide receiver room.
Well, Claypool plays wide out, and I'll let him do that. I'll formulate the practice approach, and I think that division of labor is probably appropriate.
That was Mike Tomlin.
His response.
Awesome.
Well, Claypool plays wide out, and I'll let him do that. I'll formulate the practice approach, and I think that division of labor is probably appropriate.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like Pittsburgh was sort of fed up with Chase Claypool. And now when Sylvie says that he's heard some things like the Bears aren't overwhelmed by...
It's a little early to realize the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. That was a little early to realize it in Chase Claypool's career.
I hope...
But they had one, right? They've got a good receiver, Deontay Johnson.
And then they drafted
Pickens. And they said, who can go?
See ya.
This guy can go.
Yep.
We don't need him.
And they wasted no time.
And they would contacted Green Bay, let them know that we've got a guy that's available. Chicago hears that. They got a guy that's available. We want to make life easier for Justin Fields. And you gave up a lot.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So
it's early, though. Hopefully it's only conjecture.
Or he snaps out of it. You're playing for a contract. You're talented. Snap out of it.
We've seen talented people on the sidelines. You've seen it. Talented people with issues find a way to get themselves out of the league.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, talented people with issues find their ways out of the league.
And like Waddle and Sylvie said, you can change the narrative. The player can change the narrative. So go do it. Mike's in Byron on ESPN 1000. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. I think Claypool is the least of the Bears' worries. And if it is a case where he doesn't pan out, they let him go after this year, I think it's more playing time for Cole Kmet and Tanyan at the same time. Because you got Kmet to look at this year and decide you want to sign him or not. So.
You never want to be saying goodbye to Claypool, though, after a year and a half after you gave up the 32nd pick. I guess you just got to deal with it, Mike. You got to suck up and deal with it if it gets to that. The Kmet-Tanyan thing together, I was talking about that with Yurko yesterday, and he said, well, remember, then you're playing with two wide receivers on the field, and are you willing to do that? I don't know how much 12 personnel they'll play. I don't know how much of that look, Sean McVay loves 12 personnel, and his offense has been quite good and quite dynamic out of 12 personnel, but he might be a little bit of an outlier with it. I don't know that Getsy likes a ton of 12 personnel. I don't know. I mean, maybe they do play it more than we expect, and the offense can still be productive. But Yurko was quick to point out, okay, you want them on the field together. Remember, then, you're taking a wide receiver off the field.
Right. At that point, it's Mooney or Claypool that's coming off the field.
Because if you're in 12 personnel, then you're playing two wide receivers.
And the 12 personnel is usually a running personnel, probably 70-30 run.
Probably.
And then if Justin Fields takes the next step and he can be that gunslinger and get, have that pinpoint accuracy, well, you can pass out of it, too. When you fake the run, you turn and you fire. Yeah.
McVay does.
Yeah.
But, Yurko's talking about that's more of a run package. You're talking about a running back and two tight ends, and that's something to track, I guess. They haven't had, or they didn't last year under Getsy's first year, two tight ends that I think we'd even be discussing, like, what is the potential, and can your offense be sneaky good and creative and efficient and even explosive out of 12 personnel? It's something we'll have to watch.